Welcome to Old Man Sports Talk. I'm your host, Old Man Nate, and tonight we are going to talk about Caitlin Clark's salary and the women's WNBA salary and, and how they are getting screwed with their pay, or are they? So let's first, you know, Caitlin Clark salary is going to be around $76,000 this year, and she was the number one pick in the WNBA draft just 2 nights ago. Has already signed her contract, and that she signed a contract for 76,000, a little over 76,000 to play this year. And I believe it was a 4-year contract, and each year it's going to go up just a little bit. And she will, sign the highest uh, salary contract for rookies this year. Angel Reese signed hers also, and it's about 75,000, I believe it was. Not much difference between hers, and she was the seventh pick. So, and I'm bringing those two up because those two over the last 2 years, and really Caitlin over the last 3 years, have been really the figure of women's basketball. Most people would say college basketball, but we're going to get into some things really quick, and I'm just going to say basketball. She's the figure of women's basketball. So, a couple of things. If I've been on the internet ever since the draft, and a lot of people are sitting there slamming the WNBA for not paying her what they feel like she should be paid. And there's a couple of things you got to take into effect. Okay. And first of all, before we even get any further, I don't want people sitting here saying on anything. If I say something that you don't agree with, don't sit here and say I'm hating on women. That's not true. That is not true at all. I think that women are of equal pay when it comes to men in the workforce. Okay, if you're out here working a job with a man, a full-time job with a man, you are equal to a pay as a man. Okay. So don't go there. But this is going to be a different situation. And we'll get into that in just a second on why it's different. Okay. When I go to work every day, I work the same hours as all the women that I work with in my office. Okay. When the average person goes to work, whether it be man or woman, they work the same shift as with the men and women they work with. They work the same hours as the men and women they work with. So they deserve the same equal pay. Okay. If you are a person that thinks WNBA players should be paid the same as NBA players, you're fooling yourself. Okay. They don't work the same hours. All right. It's not even close. So we'll get into that in a minute. First of all, if you haven't already, please take the time to like and subscribe and ring the bell. That way you get notified every time Old Man Nate goes live or drops a video. Okay. So over the last 3 years, like I said, Caitlin Clark has been a star at the Iowa Hawkeyes and in college basketball. About 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, when I started hearing about her shooting from the logo, shooting from half court, and she did it solid for 4 years at Iowa. And then Angel Reese last year came on the scene, leading LSU to the championship, and in the championship game, beating Caitlin Clark and her Iowa Hawkeyes. And then, of course, she got even more famous when she wanted to point at the ring, point at the ring at the end, and that brought a lot of attention to her her team and women's basketball. All right, and because she did it in Caitlin Clark's face. You know, this year they played Caitlin. This year the girls played the season. Caitlin Clark did the same thing she normally does. Had an outstanding year. Won National Player of the Year for the second year in a row. And uh, they played in the Elite Eight. Angel Reese and Caitlin. Caitlin got the better in this time. You know, nothing but love for each other after the game. Okay. Caitlin went on to play for another championship against South Carolina this year, and South Carolina had a better team, uh, and South Carolina won it, went undefeated. So great job for South Carolina, and great and so what I'm saying is Caitlin Clark has brought a lot of publicity to women's basketball. Okay, particular college basketball. Okay, um, and I believe that she's going to bring a lot of attention to the WNBA as well, which will start here in just a couple months. Now, how long that's going to last, I don't know. I'll tell you this right now, and if you watched the women's college basketball championship game, maybe even the Final Four. I don't remember if they had it in the Final Four. I know they had it for sure in the championship game, but there was a channel that had actually, I think they did have it in the Final Four too, because there was all UConn commentators, all women who played at UConn, and UConn was playing Iowa, and of course, they didn't like some of the calls that went against, especially a late call there at the end. But Diana, I'm going to chew her name, Taurasi. Um, she she had gave no respect to Caitlin Clark on the TV, and I think that maybe she's trying to start something, not meaning controversial stuff towards Caitlin, but maybe bringing more publicity because Caitlin's in the WNBA now and was heading there. But you know, I felt like she should be praising Caitlin a little bit more than what she was, because Caitlin's brought a lot of attention to college basketball. Is going to bring some attention to WNBA because they're not getting fan support. WNBA is not getting fan support. Okay, so the WNBA was founded in it started putting together in '96, but the first game was in June of '97. So for 26 seasons, this will be the 27th season. The WNBA has been failing. Okay. So let's take a look at some numbers real quick. All right. Now I found an article that was printed just a little over a year ago. So these numbers are really going to be for 2022 season. I do have some numbers for the 2023 season, but it's not much difference. But I'll still talk about them a little bit. Okay. Um, so in 2022, the WNBA's average attendance was 5,679 over um, the whole league. Okay, there's 12 teams in the league. All right, they only play 40 regular season games. Okay, so you take that, and we're just talking about ticket sales. All right, which by the way is where most of their money comes from. Most of their revenue comes from, because you still got to pay for flights, still got to pay for hotels, still got to pay for food. Still, I mean, there's a lot of the other stuff tries to cover all that. The other money that comes in, which is through your merchandise, through some arenas are able the owners, the teams own where the parking is, so some don't, right? So not all teams get revenue from parking. I know in Oklahoma City, the teams don't. Okay. But like when I lived out in California, went to the Sacramento Kings. This is back when they had Arco Arena, though. The Kings did own the parking lot, so they got parking. So not everybody does. Um, so you got 12 teams who play 40 games, and their average attendance is 5,679. You multiply all that together, and you get roughly, um, let's see, where's it at? I got that. Oh, $5.3 million in revenue. Let's give an applause to WNBA. Yeah, they made $5.3 million off ticket sales. Over that's that's the whole league. Okay, that's the whole league. That's not a team. All right. No, I take it back. That is the average per team. I think that is the average per team. Yeah, because it's about 60 million for the whole league. Okay. So um, now with that money, you got to pay players. All right. The average player. Now this is some you make more, some make less. The average player makes 102,751. Okay, that's the average throughout every player on in the league. Okay, but on top of that, you still got to pay people who work in the office, your secretaries, your admin people, um, people who work the arenas. Just be in security or clean up the arena when it's done. Um, your ushers, concession people, all of that. They all got to get paid as well after every game. And then, of course, you got your owner who's going to make a lot of money. Okay. Now, I know some of y'all are sitting here saying, owner don't need that much. He needs to put more in the players' pockets. Okay. Well, how many of y'all people who are saying that are working at Walmart right now and saying, uh, the Walton family don't need that much. They need to be putting more in the employees' pockets. And you're standing outside picketing because you ain't getting paid enough. All right. You ain't doing that. So if you're not complaining about your own pay, why are you complaining about somebody else's pay? All right. So now through like I said, the season or the WNBA started in 97. The highest here okay, this is how some of y'all be thinking. How many what do you think the average over the 20 years, 23 years, 20 I'm sorry, 26 years that the attendance has been? What do you think it's been? The average over the 26 years has been just 7,853. The highest peaked in 98, so the second year with 10,000, a little over 10,000, 10,869. Now the lowest obviously was 2021. It was the year after COVID. They didn't play in 2020. They didn't play in COVID year. The year after that was the lowest. Everybody's trying to get acclimated back into it. That was a little over 2,000, right? Um, but and, and last year was the highest since COVID, and that was 6,615. Now I do anticipate to go be higher than that. But I do not think it's gonna get back up there to 10,000 where it was in the second year. I think it'll probably get 7, maybe 8, all right? Now, so I messed up on my math a while ago. I told y'all 12 teams, no, and all that. 12 teams, 40 games times 5 no, where you get your revenue money at, I messed up. So, okay, so yes, it's 5,679 games or the attendance. Um, you multiply that, but how much was the tickets? The average ticket sales for the WNBA game is just $47. All right, and then you're gonna multiply that by 20, not by 40, but by 20. The reason I did it by 20 is because they play 40 games, half at home, half away. So to go by team, it's 5,679 seats. 47's ticket price by 20, and that's where it came up with a 5.3 million, which is what um, is the average per team they make. Okay, and then as a league, total revenue by the 12 teams, that's 60 million, a little over 60 million they make in a league as a league. Now I know somebody came out today and said, "Oh, they made 200 million." No, that's actually their estimated for this year. They're expected because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I'm gonna throw Angel Reese in there too. It's not just Caitlin Clark, but because of them two coming into the league this year, they're expected to increase the revenue 3 times what they have had last year. Is it possible? I think it is possible. Okay, but we'll have to wait and see. And since you're doing a guessing game right now, um, that doesn't mean those two ladies and the rest of them should get paid more money right now. Okay, if they can consistently keep the league to grow and where the WNBA is not losing money, because they are losing money overall when you consider all the costs that come into effect and paying the players, paying everybody that has a job keeping this WNBA running. They're losing money. Okay, let's talk about comparison um, of what the NBA does. Okay, so the NBA has an average attendance in 2022 of 17,184. That's almost 3 times what the WNBA did. They play 82 games. That's twice as many games as WNBA. And this is regular season. We're not even counting playoffs for either team, which, by the way, the NBA plays more games there. They have 7 game series, whereas the WNBA only has 5 game series, right? First one to win 3. Um, and I think the finals, it may be only a 3 game series. So there's 30 teams in the NBA. That's over twice as many as in the WNBA. Okay. So total revenue in 2022 for the WNBA was 60 million. Total revenue for the NBA in 2022 was 10 billion with a B. B as in boy. So um some other numbers, like I said, I already gave the attendance, with some other stuff. If you're not going to the game, are you watching the game? All right. So the average viewership of a WNBA game in 2022 was 412,000 people across the country, not just in one area, watching a game. The average viewership of the 2022 NBA Finals, which, by the way, ends pretty much right when the WNBA takes off. So comparing the same time frames, 12.4 million was watching that. 12.4 million watched the NBA in 2022. Only 412,000 watched the WNBA. Okay. The um, highest views in the WNBA game was the Aces versus the Storm. The average viewership was 852,000 with a peak at 1.1 million. Okay. But we just said the average was 412,000. Okay. So even though we had um, in one game average almost double of what the average is through the season of, well, actually, it was more than double what average through the season. So that means you got a lot of, if you got an average of 412,000, you got a peak at 1.1 million in one game. That means you've got a lot of lows to bring that average down. A lot of lows in the 100,000, 200,000, maybe less than 100,000. So, um, so yeah, those are the numbers that separate the NBA and the WNBA. We got NBA up here, WNBA. I'm gonna try to get down here. Okay, down here. So if you're one of those people that think the WNBA players should still, after what I just read it off, if you got one of those people that think that WNBA players should still be paid like men, like the WNBA players, shame on you. Shame on you. There you go. That's what you get. Okay. So um I would like to see, it's good for women's basketball if more viewers and more people get in the seats. All right. Like I always say, if if you can't put butts in the seats, then you don't deserve to be paid like a superstar. All right. Um, and by the way, they only play for 4 months. 4 months. And you want them to get paid like LeBron James, right? Oh, by the way, the average salary in an NBA player is 9.6 million. Okay. 102,000 for a WNBA. But they're putting butts in the seats. They're putting 17,000 in a seat. And that, like I did look at last season's, or no, this season. I'm sorry, this season. I already looked at for this season. This season, the lowest attendance on a league was the Charlotte Hornets, and they're still putting 15,000. That was their average attendance for 41 games. 15,000. All right. The Fever, who just drafted Caitlin Clark, was the lowest attendance last year, and they were only putting 4,000. Now I know they've already sold out all their tickets. Okay, does that mean they're going to put because the same amount that the Indiana Pacers put in there? Do they? I don't even know. They may not play in the same place the Indiana Pacers do. I don't know. I don't know. But if they do, does that mean they're going to put Indiana Pacers, which is about 17,000 seats? Are they going to put 17,000? If they do, and they can do that 3 and 4 years, then you're going to start seeing the players pay increased. Now, here's another thing. One thing I take into consideration, and this is not on. You can blame the WNBA, but there's it's not. It's so both every professional team has a players bargaining union. Okay, and this is a big difference between the NBA and the WNBA. The NBA has a 50-50% split with the revenue. All right. That's why a lot of the players, and this just happened a couple years ago too. So, NBA been around since the 70s, and th- they just now, within the last couple years got that to where the NBA, and I believe they're splitting a lot of the TV revenues. I believe that's what it is. But it's a 50-50% split, which is why you see a lot of the players pay increase. Okay, along with they put butts in the seats, which is where the revenue come from, right? Um, they they got the viewership, 12.4 million viewers watching games. Okay, so um, now the WNBA players bargaining is not near that. It's 80%, 20%. So only 20% of the revenue made goes to the players, which is another thing, another reason why an average is 102,000. Average salary is 102,000. They only get 20% of that revenue. Now you can sit here and say, "Oh, that's on the owners." That's on whoever. I do not know who is their union rep, but that's on them. They're the ones that made that agreement with the WNBA player owners. Okay. Now, this year there will be a new one. Okay. I'm pretty sure that they're going to fight hard. Will they get the 50-50? I don't know. I think they'll probably get closer to 60-40, just because it's a new company. It's new. This 27th season. And by the way, this is going to be the expected highest draw of attention since it's first became a league. All right. And that's what, anytime something new, you get a lot of attention. Anytime new and people want it, you get a lot of attention. So WNBA the first couple years had a lot of attention, 10,000 seats. That's good. But then it kind of fluttered out, and then COVID hit, and you had to rebuild again. And Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese come along, and they're trying to rebuild it. I think they're doing good things, but can they put the butts in the seats? So right now, if you are watching my video and first of all, I want to hear your comments. I want to hear all your comments. Second, I want you to like and subscribe to my channel, and I want you to ring the bell. That way you get notified every single time Old Man Nate goes live or drops a video. Third, if you're out here screaming at your monitor, your phone, watching my video, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, these women need to get paid, okay, then go put your butt in the seat. All right? Watch every game, not once in a while. Watch every one, not just your favorite player. Watch the next game comes on. That's how you can help get these girls paid. That's what you want. But if you're just sitting here complaining and you ain't doing nothing about it, that's just like complaining about the president that you didn't vote for because you didn't go vote at all. You sat at home. You have no right to complain. You didn't do your part to make the change happen. Okay? And especially if you're one of these people that's, working at Walmart or, working for a company, and you're mad because the WNBA owners are getting all the money and the players ain't getting none. Well, the Waltons are getting all the money and the employees ain't getting none. And you're not sitting out there picking it outside their stores. In fact, you're shopping in all their stores. You just kind of contradict yourself when you do stuff like that. All right. It's the same system, same system. And these women, I should say, these women, they only play basketball for 4 months, and they're still making pretty good money. It's not like all the NBA players are only making 76. Matter of fact, I just looked it up right before we went to this video. So, Caitlin Clark's salary this year is going to be like 150th in the league. Okay, so there's 150 players getting paid her salary or more. Okay. Brittany Griner, who was the WNBA player who was over in Russia, who got was put in prison in Russia for with illegal contraband. She makes 150,000 a year, twice as much as Caitlin Clark. But she's been in the league for by the way, I did forget to mention this. So the rookie salary cap is exactly to the penny what Caitlin Clark got. All right. She got paid the most she could get paid because of the rookie salary cap. And a lot of leagues, NFL does that. Okay. They have a salary cap for rookies. So that's nothing new. And now another thing, in case y'all didn't know this though, the women's contracts, their money's not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to make the roster. All right. So you could sign a contract. Now, Caitlin's going to make the roster. Angel's going to make the roster. But some of these girls probably are not going to make the rosters. They own the WNBA. It's just built different than the NBA. Like the NBA has to have a minimum of 12 players on the bench on their roster, can have up to 15, and then they can have an additional 2 players do what they call two-way contracts. So they can play half their games in the NBA and they can play half their games in the G League. Okay. The WNBA players, they're they have to have a minimum of 10 players, but no more than 12. So 10 to 12 players, all they can have. So anyhow, it's a little bit different. They're not the same. They're not the same. They're close, but they're not. And yeah, uh, right now, I'm sorry, Caitlin Clark and all them the ladies that just signed contracts, they don't deserve the pay as the NBA. Will they ever? I don't know. I do not know. Do I think that they'll ever get 12.4 million to watch their games? No, I don't. And the main reason is just not the same entertainment level. All right. Um, Not saying they don't play good basketball because sometimes they play better basketball than the men. Okay. For somebody who like me who enjoys watching uh, people that actually move around and set screens and team ball, and like a lot of the NBA is just ISO ball. I don't like it. That's just me. I don't really care for that style of ball. But there's a lot of people that like it. Young generation loves it. So um, anyways, so that's my take. If I want to hear from you, tell me what you think. Tell me if you think old man Nate is done lost his head, or tell me if you like it. Yeah, let me know. If you haven't already, please take the time right now to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That way you get notified every time old man Nate goes live or drops a video. I really do appreciate all your supports. Leave some comments. Exactly. Tell me exactly what you think of this video. All right. And if you're a WNBA supporter, then support them. Watch it on TV, not just once in a while. Continuously watch it. Go to games. If there's a game in your city, go to the games. If there's a game within a couple hours of you, go to the games. Support them. Otherwise, you're just complaining and it is doing absolutely nothing at all for anybody, including these women. Okay. All right. I appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Old Man Sports Talk.